One reason this movie is resonating with people is because even though it happened 40 years ago, the events are very similar to what's happening right now. And that's kind of sad.
There's never been a black cop in this city. We think you might be the man to open things up around here.
Hello, this is Ron Stallworth calling. Who am I speaking with?
This is David Duke.
Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan. That David Duke?
God, last time I checked. What can I do you for?
I wasn't allowed to talk after it immediately happened because I was ordered not to talk to anybody, to destroy the records and whatnot, the files, which I didn't do, by the way. And that's how the book was written, based on the official police reports, which I still possess.
Since you asked, I hate blacks. And anyone else, really, that doesn't have pure white Aryan blood running through their veins.
I'm happy to be talking to a true white American.
And for the actors, I'm curious, how did the story find its way to you? And did you know from the start that it was a true story?
Just a conversation with Spike and then read the script, and obviously it was an incredible story. And he just said that John David Washington's going to play Ron Stallworth, and he's the truth. So I'm like, okay.
I couldn't believe that I've never heard of the story. I mean, I went to a historically black college, Morehouse College, class of '06. Know my history and my culture, but this one slipped through the cracks.
I remember I read it over a weekend and I called my agents. I said, I think I have a take on David Duke. It's like silence. The audition was the most uncomfortable dialogue. You know, I was trying to rehearse it the night before, and I was alone in the room and I couldn't say half the words. I mean, I'd be shouting hate-filled stuff, and then 300 people would be chanting it and following my lead. And this is why Spike Lee is such an amazing director. And essentially, he'd say, I'm Spike Lee, I know what I'm doing. And he said, you're serving my message and what I'm trying to say, and you'll be happy when you see the film. And he was right, I really was.
John David, did he say anything nice about Adam?
Did Spike say anything?
Yeah.
No, he was just like, yo, we got Adam. We got him. We got him. I was like, I know what that meant.
How do you propose to make this investigation?
We'll establish contact over the phone. We'll need a white officer to play me when they meet face to face.
Yeah, the research was the fun part. I sort of stripped my diet. I stripped all R&B and hip hop and EDM away from my diet. And it was nothing but 60s and 70s music.
Yeah, so I initially met Kathleen Cleaver, who was one of the leaders of the Black Panther Party. And I talked to a lot of people and people who were active during that time. Read a lot of Angela Davis's books and watched a lot of interviews with her. Also, listened to the music. JD and I shared an iPod on set.
For me, less music. It was like, he's a terrible man, but it's a great, juicy role. I read his autobiography, which is a doorstop. It's huge. I watched a lot of filmed interviews of him from the 70s, and watching him deal with a crowd about this size, he'd kind of, they were there to boo him. By the end of the half hour, he'd turn the room a little bit, and I thought, oh, this man is very evil. He's very charismatic in the media.
I dealt with David Duke directly. Ofer captures David Duke to a T. He looks like him in some cases, and he sounds like him in some cases, the David Duke of 1978. That's how good his portrayal was.
Today we are privileged to be among white men and white women.
How much of a resource was Ron? I mean, were you around that they could ask you questions?
Adam did. My wife and I were traveling down the highway on the interstate, and I get a phone call. He introduces himself on the phone, and I looked at my wife and I said, Kylo Ren, Kylo Ren. He had a lot of questions about his character and whatnot. The real Chuck in my book, he's not Jewish, by the way.
Really?
That was creative script writing, and that's one of the things that attracted me to having this story told, was the two Jewish script writers wanted to play on that aspect to create some of the tension effect when he's in a room.
It's such a great story, so it doesn't surprise me, but I mean, in your wildest dreams, who is better than Spike Lee to make this movie?
I couldn't have asked for anything more than one of the 50 greatest directors in motion picture history to tackle my story. Dream come true.
It's always fun to me because, it's such a luxury. I mean, to be able to hear the words cut and action and cut from a legend, you know what I mean? I'm the kind of trust he had, I felt like he had for all of us. You know, it was that made it that much more fun.